table as we get this match on the books.
Looks like we are switching over and starting off. I believe race is underway. Both file names are agility, I believe. So hope both of the runners live up to that.
I'm sure they will. Yeah, so here we go. In this beginning section, we don't actually end up having dash, so all we can do is sort of jump about. And so the goal is to be able to jump as many times as possible, because each time you jump off of the ground, you get a tiny bit of speed. It's only a couple of frames, not too much each jump, but ends up saving a little bit around maybe a second, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. So nice optimization coming from both of our runners.
Yeah, it looks like both screens maybe about 10 seconds behind each other. So both getting out of the intro, getting into Chapter 1. And Chapter 1 is going to showcase a lot of the tech that we will see throughout the run itself. It's very cool in that pretty much everything that you use throughout the entire run you will utilize in this first chapter.
Yeah, and so basically as we progress through, you're going to see our runners dashing about. That's one of the actions you can do. You can also grab onto a wall and climb up it, and then you can also jump. And so our runner is going to be combining these three mechanics to be able to build some very specific types of speed tech. However, most of the speed tech in this game is worked around canceling out your dash by jumping out of it. Isn't that right, Obi?
Yeah, definitely. With whether it's hyper dashes, which are utilizing the crouch, and dashing out of that, and then wave dashing. Wave dashing and hyper dashing are interchangeable, so you will see them, both runners use both of those in separate instances. So it looks like both streams are synced up now. So both runners sitting at the 138 mark right now.
Yeah, nicely done. Fladervy working through these sections, no problem. It just took a little bit of a small death, missing one of the dash angles in an earlier room, but no problem. That could just like absolutely happen. But really making quick work out of this Chapter 1, and it looks like they are going to get a 110 for
110.
First level, which is actually a really good IL time on the leaderboard.
Yeah. Very, very difficult. I think I'm sitting at a 113, so he's got me beat.
Yeah, nicely done. So we're going to see if AndyPerfect ends up going around the left. No, he's going to take the right side. That's really good. Doing those neutral jumps up the left side of the wall are really spooky and stuff. I really like this in a race sense, too, from AndyPerfect. Maybe not doing the most #optimal strat, but really what you can do to build a consistent run for yourself is the most important thing you end up doing.
Yeah, it's not always about doing the flashy. It's a lot about just being consistent. Just doing in a race setting, trying to be as consistent as possible. It'll save you more time over going for the flashiest strats.
Yeah, for sure. And so on the right, Fladervy definitely in the lead right now. Things to watch out for to be wildly impressed are just certain tricks that we're going to be pointing out, but just also how quickly Fladervy is going to be landing back on the ground in each situation and really getting into tight positions. Ooh, just a tiny little misstep from Fladervy, but really nice quick backup, right? Not much lag time between when they missed what was #optimal and what they ended up being capable of doing in the moment. And so mitigating that time loss is really the mark of a really, really good and impressive speedrun. Fladervy is putting on quite a good performance so far.
Definitely, definitely. A lot of it is, yeah, just like reaction time. Like if you do make a mistake, like you were saying, ooh, very nice, going through the center of the battle lines, knowing the exact timing to be able to do that takes a lot of practice. So just knowing how to react when if something does go wrong, having the wherewithal to react to that so that you don't lose as much time.
Yeah, the moment Madeline's hair turns red again, the moment that Fladervy gets that dash back, is immediately expending that. If that's what's optimal, as long as they don't have to jump back up into a really specific position. AndyPerfect doing a really great job. Nice, taking a little bit safe, letting the Battalions get through before progressing on. Nicely done. And yeah, they're going to be going for the quick path. So trying to do an intentional sequence break built in by the developers And we're going to see if Andy is going to be able to close out this section. This is a really scary part for taking death. And Nice gets through really clean.
That room is very
by Andy.
That room is very long, very costly if you take a death right at the end. And we see Fladervy finishing up Chapter 2, going into Chapter 3. And Chapter 3 showcases a lot of cycle-based movement and memorization. So it's going to be very cool to see some of the strats that they go for.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Like, the moment you enter a screen, it's always going to be on the same cycle, so we have that reproducibility with certain rooms. And so especially in this room, Nice gets the wave dash off the block to be able to get that dash reset while progressing on and not having to stop for even a moment. And then in this one, beating out that Dust Bunny is actually a lot more tight than it may first appear. And so Fladervy just making all this stuff look so easy.
Yeah, and AndyPerfect finishing up Chapter 2. Very nice. Moving on to the Chapter 3. And, yeah.
Yeah, woo! Yeah, so
Right
Fladervy
here.
entering another really cycle-intensive room is going to be able to jump through, resetting their dash there to be able to dash through the air, and Nice gets underneath as well. All of these times, whenever Fladervy jumps immediately after touching the ground, it's important that they spend the least amount of lag time on the ground before jumping again in order to be able to maintain as much of that speed as possible. Because if you're walking on that ground, that's going to be a serious deceleration. But Fladervy is a pro at this and is going to be able to bunny hop their way to victory really, really well. And especially in this movement section, right, Obi?
Yeah, we are entering the huge mess section of the game. Just kind of a pain, honestly, unless you have very specific things memorized as to where you're supposed to dash. Because when you do dash, wow, that is insane.
Yeah, that reverse hyper just like out of the blue, nicely done.
Using those ultras just to fly through those rooms is ridiculous. But what I was saying was dashing actually shrinks Madeline's hitbox a little bit. So you can squeeze through some very tight spaces that you wouldn't normally be able to. So we can see that being utilized in the main section of the huge mess.
Yeah, and so upcoming here, we're going to see how well AndyPerfect does on the left in this cycle room. Yeah, just like taking it nice and slow. Like, these little maneuvers are just real pleasure to see, especially in a tournament race setting where they're just trying to finish with the consistently lowest time as well. And deaths add up. If you just end up infiniting yourself in a given room, you can just have to just like sit there and try first strat over and over again. But get through those cycles first try, yeah, that's right. You're not going to be wasting any time whatsoever besides whatever you lose versus #optimal.
Yeah, and a lot of it also comes down to sometimes just mental fortitude. Like if you die in a room and you get reset and you get flustered, it's so much easier to like Muffin was saying, just get infinite in a room, like just get stuck. So if you have the wherewithal and the mental fortitude to just fight through that, maybe take a little bit slower, it can really pay off. Ooh.
Yeah, Fladervy just taking a small death there, not quite catching the cycle that they wanted to. And so with that death respawn, of course, the room is running for a little bit of time while you're still respawning. And so the cycle is completely different from when you originally enter the room, especially if you're building momentum beforehand. But Fladervy just able to get through second try and take a slightly slower cycle than if they had been able to get through that room the first time around. But no problem. Nice recovery there from Fladervy.
Yeah, so Fladervy has finished up huge mess, cleaned up the entire hotel for, well, most of it, I guess. And it looks like AndyPerfect is on the second objective, getting the chests right there. Fladervy is moving on, trying to talk to Oshiro, trying to find Oshiro. Coming up really soon, we're going to see some really cool hypers right here. Perfect execution, getting through, grabbing that key, resetting the room, and that takes him right back to where the key door is.
Good. There's a really specific audio cue there, which we didn't end up hearing from Fladervy when you collect that key, and I'm guessing that they weren't able to necessarily guarantee that they got it the first time around, so just being extra careful before resetting their position at the beginning of the room to make sure that they still had that key collected. And now Fladervy heading into one of the scariest sections of the run, Obi, right?
Yeah. This section can be terrifying. The rooms are very long. very costly to take a death at the end of it. And you also have the lovely Oshiro trailing behind you, just adding a little bit more extra pressure. Oshiro will find where you are on your vertical plane and try and give you a big old hug. So Fladervy is going to try and avoid that as much as possible, getting through these rooms just with insane pace. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, a lot of these positions for exactly how long they are retaining their jump in air, and being able to get through there that cleanly was really, really nice. Nice overall section from Fladervy, as they are going to be the first person to progress into Chapter 3. And AndyPerfect now is going to be continuing on as they go back to Oshiro to be able to grab the key and say hi again. Hello.
Yeah, going on to Chapter 4. A couple of new mechanics are being added on here. We see the green bubbles. Oh, missing one. Going back, grabbing it. The green bubbles basically act as a dash reset. Enter the bubble, you gain your dash back, and you also can activate. Once you go into the bubble, you can dash, and it will shoot you out faster than it would normally. So we see Fladervy using that to his advantage. As well as the little white clouds just act as bounce pads. Ooh, very tight spike jump right there. You have to be so close to them to get under that. More difficult than it looks.
Yeah, nicely done. And being able to jump out of these clouds to get the extra height while still being able to do a reverse dash in order to be able to get that nice speed boost. And oh no, AndyPerfect on the left just taking a death right at the final little bit of a cycle. That is so tricky. And nice, taking an extra little pause there to be able to get a second try. Nicely done. Really, well, just as you mentioned, that recovery, that retention of like nerves and stuff, and like stopping yourself from being infinite. What was that for Fladervy? Was that an ultra? That was sick.
Oh my god.
I want to do that. Yeah, here, you can just commentate the rest of the match. I'm going to be practicing that for the rest of the night.
Yeah. I got you. I can solo commentate.
Nah, man.
No, but, what was I going to say? I was going to say something after that. My brain.
Nah, it's okay. Fladervy ended up having to reset a screen to be able to get through. Again, this backdraft here that's pushing him to the left can be really tricky to deal with. And, oh man, it just did not, get their dash back. There, if you jump too soon out of that dash, it can be really tricky. And just opting instead to do a wave dash off of a really small location, and almost gets the auto scroller skip. Very close.
Yeah, what I was going to say is in Celeste there is no movement cap. So if you utilize those hypers into ultras, into another ultra, like your speed keeps compounding. So if runners use that to their advantage, they can get absolutely insane speed off of some of these rounds.
Yeah, and while Fladervy is showcasing off some really insane tech, keep your eyes peeled on to the left side of your screen as AndyPerfect now going through the Oshiro section. Just taking a little bit safer there. Nicely done, being able to get through without taking a death. And this is the long screen for AndyPerfect to definitely watch for. Yep, just gets through that cycle. And now Oshiro being able to jump through. Nicely done.
Yeah, just taking it slow right now. There's nothing wrong with that. It's so costly to take something right now. So just take your time, take that extra 2 seconds, and make it to the end of the room so you don't waste a whole lot more time. So very nice. Getting through Chapter 3, on to Chapter 4. As Fladervy finishes up Chapter 4, last room here. Couple more bubbles and finished. 3:15. That is an insane pace.
Wow, nicely done. Nicely done. Having a little bit of struggles in one of the rooms, but besides that, not really too many other mistakes that they didn't just like completely clean up instantaneously. Nice section from both of our runners, and Andy having a really great Oshiro section, not really taking any costly deaths. Very impressive to see.
I just noticed Fladervy popped into chat while he was racing.
Hey, Fladervy.
Yeah, what's up, dude?
What'd you eat for breakfast? No.
Yeah, let's have an interview right now.
Yeah. Get some runner chat participation in here. No. So tell me a bit about this next chapter that we see Fladervy and Obi.
Yeah, so one of the more interesting chapters, a lot of different mechanics are going to be introduced here. Having to open a lot of doors you see with the buttons, these blocks, holy crap. The speed.
Oh, so close.
But those blocks only move when you dash. So we'll be utilizing, double bubble skip. You saw it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Nicely done.
Very
being able to
trick.
Yeah, that is really precise, and if you die, you have to like do the entire thing over. Really nice stuff coming from Fladervy, showcasing that there's a reason why they're 6-0 coming out of group stage currently, and they want to close out 7-0 with a strong message going into bracket stage, not missing a beat on any of these difficult tricks.
Yeah, so now we see over on the right-hand side, entering the Seeker section of it. And the game kind of teaches you what Seekers do by actually becoming one. So Seeker's main mission is to seek out Madeline and, like I said last time, just give her a big ol' hug. Just, I don't know, Seekers are maybe a little lonely. So, but we can definitely use Seekers to our advantage.
Yeah, but we're kind of anti-hug right now because we don't have a high enough level just quite yet. So going to be trying to avoid all these Seekers as possible. As Fladervy showcasing off some really tight movement. In this next upcoming section, these Seekers can actually activate lock switches as well because they are extensions of us. And ooh, just going down just a slight bit early, but oh no, being able to catch it the second time. Nicely done.
Very nice. Utilizing, like we said, utilizing that Seeker, hitting him into one of those keys. Seekers can activate the keys by running through them. You saw it again there. Also, their explosion on respawn will also activate it, as you saw right there moments ago. Looks like AndyPerfect over on the left as well is coming very close to the end of Chapter 4. Doing very well, just cleaning up these last few rooms before heading into the temple section.
Yeah, Fladervy with a small death there in that last room, no problem. He's going to just be continuing to progress on through and do a really cool skip here. Just taking death, so has to reset up for it. Wow, and doing a different variation using a bunny hop instead of setting up the reverse hyper in that small section. What a flavor we're coming out of Fladervy.
Gosh, it is very cool, just like we said in the beginning, to see the variations of strats as like you progress as a runner in this game. Just the amount of optimization that can happen is absolutely mind-blowing. Yeah,
and besides small missteps, Fladervy has been showcasing off all of these just very well. So very cool to watch them perform this well, especially in like in a tournament setting.
Sit down.
Take a seat.
Take a bath.
Alright, so Fladervy is going to try and build as much speed before re-picking up Theo as a crystal, because of course you can't dash when you're holding Theo, but what you can end up doing is just throwing him and re-catching him like almost instantaneously after setting up a dash. So very different mechanic than what the runners experience in the earlier sections. So being able to nail a lot of this as Fladervy builds a ton of speed, nice.
Yeah, you just utilizing Theo to the utmost right now, getting through this section so quickly. Oh, little hiccup, brought it back, and yeah, utilizing Theo to get as much momentum as possible through these rooms. Very difficult, but an insane showing from Fladervy, finishing up Chapter 5.
Yeah, really great. And actually, just as a quick side note, AndyPerfect actually finishing Chapter 4 13 seconds ahead of PB. So Andy is actually on a really good pace for himself right now. And so that's really exciting. And so we'll keep you guys updated to see how his run is doing and if he can close out another PB just on the race stage. That would be so exciting, Obi.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Andy actually going with the reverse hyper right there. A little bit of a variation. There's multiple ways that you can do that. You can either do a wave dash or you can do as Andy did. So very cool to see. Oh, lake skip. Was that first try?
Yeah, that was first try lake skip, man. It's
Fantastic.
So good.
Yeah,
all right, so now
go
on, Obi.
You got it.
All right, I got it. So Fladervy now introducing us to the feathers and the Kevin blocks. Feathers allow us to move around. Those are a lot easier to use a controller for. And then here are the Kevin blocks, named after the person who recorded the initial sound effect for this and edited it, which is just a very, very funny sound. So it's going to allow us to build a lot of speed in various sections, like this one.
Oh, so close with that skip right there. You have to touch that block to allow it to fall. Normally that is done by the Kevin block actually hitting it, but if you use the hyper dash off of it, you can sometimes just get it out of the way and save a couple seconds.
Yeah, nicely done. And so there are a couple different routes in this section, right, Obi?
Yes, there are different routes. I believe there are 6 different choices that the runners can make, going with the either top or bottom routes. There is actually some variation. Just using the momentum from that Kevin block to skip over that bumper as well. But yeah, there is some variation in what from runner to runner. Personal preference, just some choose to do other routes. So looks like we've gone bottom or top. Gosh, I'm not even sure anyway. Going bottom now.
Yeah, going bottom now. Nailed it. Yeah, and so Fladervy working through this section, no problem. There's a little bit of a cycle coming up here, I believe. Oh no, that was another room. So no problem here in being able to get through these feather sections. No problem. As AndyPerfect making quick work of Chapter 5. Not really any major deaths coming out. Oh no, I spoke too soon. Dies right at the end of the screen, but no problem. It's just going to be able to get back up and go through as Fladervy heading towards the battle and boss fight.
Yeah. So in the battle and boss fight, we're kind of fighting our the other side of our emotions, and our main objective is to progress through the room. You have to come in contact with battling. So multiple times. A lot of these rooms are very long, so very costly. Again, if you take a death. So we'll see how.
Oh, watch on the right. Watch, you ready?
Doing battle and bounce.
And
there
yes,
it is.
Dude. Wow. I love that. I love just how much speed you're able to build with that. Nicely done from Fladervy. Sorry, go on, Obi.
No, so yeah, just going through this. Battlin's hitbox is actually very large, and she will be shooting out two different kinds of attacks. One will be the fireballs, and another one will be a giant laser that she has to channel for a little bit. So a lot of this comes down to just trying to reach Battlin as quickly as possible, and utilizing your dashes to mitigate that knockback.
Yeah, and so all these positions where Fladervy just lands on the ground for a split second before starting a dash or going one screen. Oh, slight misstep there, not quite jumping into Battlin to be able to grab the hit, but no problem. That was just right at the beginning of the room, and then, oh yeah, just tiny little hiccups, no problem. Just still able to get through these rooms. Like right there, just like catching it right before the laser fires. That is completely intentional.
Yeah, not even utilizing that feather right there, completely skipping past what the game, the developers originally wanted you to do. Because there's a faster way.
Yeah, nicely done. As now AndyPerfect is going to be heading very, very close, is now going to be grabbing the Theo Crystal in a very, very short moment. So we're going to see how well Andy is able to do with pulling out that Theo movement.
Yeah, going through the Seeker section right there, we're gonna find Theo, pick him up, start chucking him, utilize that momentum that we get from him. So we'll see over on the left-hand side how well Andy can get through this these Seeker sections.
Yeah, Fladervy doing a great job making quick work of the Madeline boss phases. Since the slight hiccups earlier in the one, not any mistakes, so really nice to just be able to recompose themselves and be able to get through these sections. A lot of these are extremely time sensitive, like all these platforms. Dodging that shot there, for instance, was very tight, so really nice stuff, just showcasing off how experienced they are with this speed game.
Yeah, it shows how comfortable Fladervy is with all of these movements, that even if something goes wrong, ooh, barely dodging that laser. Actually on a cycle right now. So close!
Wow, we're coming in! Oh, that takes some death! Oh, that one's a bit of a costly one. Unfortunate for Fladervy, but wow. Oh, yeah, and that time is able to make the cycle they're looking for! No, it takes another death! This has been enough time on the ground to get the dash back. Oh my goodness.
Fladervy's popping in chat again with his knees.
Oh man, and there we go. Nicely done. Able to get that final battle on screen, and now is going to be leveling up, unlocking a second dash in the air before they have to land and recharge those dashes.
Yeah, just a little very easy platforming section right here to get up to your other side, and battling actually in these sections coming up here for Summit helps you. So it helps you progress the levels. And we see over here on the left side, AndyPerfect just now finishing up, smacking Theo against the eyeball, and continuing on to Chapter 6.
Yeah, nicely done, and Andy actually extended their lead over their PB by an additional 10 seconds, so they are now 24 seconds ahead of their PB. What a run from Andy. This is just great to see.
Yeah. Yeah, let's keep it going. Going into Chapter 6, we're going to see the feather again. And we'll see battle in here coming up in a little bit. Opting to go second feather. If you're quick enough, you can usually skip that one, but it's pretty tight. So
yeah, very tight. And so Fladervy now in the heading up into the summit. Definitely one of the cooler sections, especially for the casual playthrough, because you get to revisit all of those unique elements from those earlier sections. Right here at 500 meters, this is modeled after Chapter 1, of course, as Fladervy showing off some really cool tech. Nice ultra there to be able to get down to that block a little bit quicker. Really cool.
Yeah. Just, I don't know, the better and better you get at this, the more and more you can just skip of the game. Like, little things that the devs, like, put in there to, oh yeah, you should probably do this. Just, nope. Fladervy doesn't even need to use some of those in utilizing the hypers and ultras. Just, it's insane. Finishing up. Oh, death at the very end.
Yeah, that's tricky. When you're over on the right side like that, it can be very easy to just slip just a tiny bit in the city block. Going to be going for it again. Yeah, heads over to the left this time. Being able to get themselves a little bit extra distance between them and the spikes and be able to get up there second try. Nicely done. Nice recovery.
Yeah, 1,000 meters. Going back into Chapter 2 for this one. Using those dream blocks, skipping over like half of the level right there with a dead intended skip right there. And,
yeah, nicely done. It's really cool too because you can just jump out of these dream blocks like the moment you come out of them, and that gets you a little bit extra height, especially in this room here. Doing these dream blocks in a nice fashion, just getting through there really quickly. And then this section just always just feels good.
Oh yeah, dream blocks are just one of those mechanics that just feels so good when you execute it well.
Yeah, like there
through those. Yep.
Yeah, it's like trying to do a hyper to stay a little bit lower, to land on the ground in an earlier fashion to be able to dash out of it immediately, but just not quite getting the slight height. But here we go, the Chapter 3 segment at 1,500. You want to talk a bit about this, Obi?
Yeah, no, this definitely is one of the hardest sections probably in the entire run, especially in Summit. Just the cycles.
Oh man, Yeah, just all these ultras are so good. Oh,
man.
no, Fladervy.
I think either used one too many dashes there or didn't get a dash reset where he thought he needed it. So yeah, just showcasing off some insane memorization here. Watch those ultras.
Oh man, that was so cool.
That is so difficult. That is so insanely difficult.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's so great. Also, just like carrying your momentum through these screens is also very important for setting up really specific positions. Here's a really heavy cycle-based room, but just having really good dash timings. Yeah, and nice, and being able to get through there. Nice and clean, as AndyPerfect actually heading into the Battle and boss fight. So this is going to be a really important section for Andy to see if he can actually end up closing out a PB here during the race. And yeah, so going through the section especially, nice, goes for the checkpoint. I like this, a little bit of safety from him, and gets through there first try. Nicely done for me.
Very nice. Dropping, he is momentarily going to be fight sequence right now, probably in about 15-20 seconds, so as we're going to see, of course we are. Of course we're going to see
yes!
Skip.
Yeah,
and the
really
wall bounce.
Yeah, nicely done.
Very difficult trick indeed.
Oh, yep. Yeah, no problem.
Alright, and yeah, AndyPerfect over on the left, entering the battle in sequence. See how he handles these very long rooms.
Yeah, and this is important once again, because as you progress through, the more time you spend in a room, if you take a death at the end of it, you have to replay all of that content. So that can be a lot of time lost, but no, okay, yeah. Andy's fine. Andy's got this. Really nice room so far.
He's a pro. He's a pro.
Yeah. Wow, nice, and beating out that block as it was falling down, just being able to hyper underneath it.
Yeah, and very briefly. Oh, very briefly. If you die in a room, there is the cycle that you enter a room on. There's also a death cycle. So if you do take a death, you have to do sometimes a little bit different movement to get through the room effectively. It changes. So looking over on the right-hand side of the screen, Fladervy getting the key skip right there. I think first try.
Yeah, nicely done. No problem. But I know everybody's wondering, is Fladervy going to end up going for the door opening skip? And so, very
door
important
skip?
question.
Oh!
Doesn't go for door skip, he gets punished for it. Oh no!
Oh! Is he gonna do it? He's thinking about it.
It just pauses. Oh man.
I feel like Doorskip is having a little bit of a revenge right now.
Yeah.
Feeling a little sad that doing the little at the end of the screen saying hello to the viewers.
It's important. It's important to get that chat into turn voice. Yeah, and there we go. AndyPerfect so far, pretty good fight, and is going to be closing into the more of the Monka-esque situation where the cycles become a little bit tighter. So we're going to see how Andy does both initially with these cycles, but then also when they have to do a backup, when they have to improvise and maybe do some movement that they had not planned on doing initially. So far, so good there, Obi.
Yeah, looking good, making their way through everything. Yeah, like we were saying, sometimes it's just about reaction. Ooh, taking the death right there. But sometimes it's just about reaction time. If something does go wrong, like we were saying, just having the wherewithal to make something up and do the best you can. Right there, getting to the end. Very nice by Andy getting through that room.
Yeah, and there he goes. And so Fladervy over on the right taking just a small death. No problem, because they had ended up picking up that checkpoint as they are heading into the final leg of the segment. Nice reverse dash to be able to make it over to that block as this downdraft is currently trying to push Madeline down. And boom, hitting Madeline is going to launch us up into the next section, which I believe is an updraft now. So completely different physics here.
Yeah, just have to be aware of these physics changes during the summit. First is downdraft. Ooh, very nice, doing a wall bounce, skipping over. Doesn't even need that platform. But yeah, now we are in the updraft section. The wind is going to help you stay afloat, but it also is just, it's a gravity change, so you have to be aware. We got the countdown going in chat, so let's keep it going. I should have switched the music over for the hey section for Andy. But oh, very nice spike hop right there. Skipping that dash reset crystal. Flag 16, I believe.
So around there somewhere.
I can't even see. Nah, 7. 7. Chat, you're throwing me off. And we have AndyPerfect over on the left hand. Now, Summit. Both runners now on Summit.
Yeah, and as a quick PB watch update, AndyPerfect still 20 seconds ahead of their PB. So it's all going to come down to the Summit for AndyPerfect to be able to close out another PB. In a tournament race setting, that would just be so exciting to see.
Yeah, it is incredible how many PBs have actually come out of this. And I think it has to do a lot with just runners being forced to finish runs. Like, a lot of times you just get frustrated and reset within the first 5 minutes and you never finish something. But the tournament is actually forcing runners to finish, and I think it's ending up with a lot of PBs coming out of it.
Yeah, for sure. And so Fladervy heading into the final leg, we're going to get that closing time out from them. It looks like it's going to be around a 32:56. And Fladervy is going to come out of group stage 7-0. No problem, 32:56, busting that out.
Fantastic showing.
Yeah, great showcase from Fladervy. Being able to bust out some of the really insane and impressive strats, as well as just having a pretty good run overall. Maybe not quite as close to their PB as they may have wanted, but still just a really great showcase, and finishing out group stage with the 7-0 and being able to head into bracket stage with that time to prepare and practice. I'm sure they're going to be absolutely excited. I cannot wait to see what Fladervy does for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, no, definitely very good position coming into bracket stage. Yeah, 32:56, sub 33.
Woo!
And we see AndyPerfect, I believe, moving into 1,000 meters. Yep, moving into 1,000 meters, going through the dream block section again. So, utilizing that momentum coming out of the dream blocks.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty important here that Andy is not going to want to miss a dash angle going through these blocks. If that can just end up happening, then you just have to reset and do the entire room over again, because you're most likely dead. But nicely done, even using some of these trampolines here to get that dash back in order to be able to progress to the next blocks. But here's an important room for Andy if they want to be able to close out PB. Oh no, nice recovery! Doesn't quite get down, so they just fall a little bit, goes back into the dream block, and is able to get through that room. That's the type of improvisation Andy now.
Yeah, definitely. Just having the skill to know how to react. Ending up going through both of those separately and making our way onto 1,500 meters. See how they handle this. Very difficult section. Very cycle based, and a lot of hard timings.
Yeah, for sure, and especially in this summit section, they do have some of those longer rooms to be able to continue to progress through the area. So if Andy is able to get through the rooms without taking a death, that would just be very, very substantial with being able to progress through the rest of the run. Yeah, especially in this one. This is one of the longer ones.
Yeah, trying to use those double dashes as effectively as possible. Ooh, just narrowly slipping by that.
It gets through. Nicely done from Andy.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah, nice.
Just jumping over that little lip. The I forgot what the actual name for it is, but the ground that turns into dust bunnies.
Oh yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't know the canon name for it, but spawned a little bit of it and could have died from it, but just barely jumped over it.
Yeah, nice reverse hyper there from Andy to be able to get through that room and use a slight secret entrance here to be able to progress through this area a little bit faster. Nicely done. Okay, and here we go. Here's a really important cycle-based room where, especially these vertical dust bunnies here, if you're not careful with your dashes, you can just end up taking a death having to do the entire sequence over, but gets it. Way to go. Nicely done.
Skipping the cutscene, on to 2000. So our chapter 4, got the green bubbles back. We'll see what path. Opting to go with the bottom route here. I believe it's a little bit faster to go the top route, but it's also a little bit more difficult. You get to skip this section where you have to wait on the platforms. But yeah, just taking it steady.
Yeah, there we go. Dropping down the hyper and then just going up and bouncing off of that trampoline is going to be able to progress through. This is a snowball section. Nice catches the top of the snowball to not die. If this snowball hits you in the face, that's right. You are going to just end up having to do the entire section over again. Nice. Is able to dodge the second one. Oh, that's a scary one and gets through.
Ugh. Kind of swagging out there a little bit, using it multiple times to bounce off. Taking it like a champ.
Yeah, for sure. Alright, there we go. Yeah, it is just going to take this auto-scroller all the way through. I think I mean...
I can't even do that. Like, it is a very difficult trick.
Yeah, there we go. And so just being careful to make sure that they are just able to not take a death there, especially at the top portions. Once again, just having to reset the entire room is just the one thing that Andy does not want to have happen right now. And so just being able to get through these sections nice and clean so far has been very, very important. And I believe they ended up losing a little bit of time at the beginning of the summit, so they're very, very close to that line of whether or not they can still beat.
Yeah, let's hope for a very clean second half of summit here, and we may be able to get a PB out of this as well. So, last final few dashes coming up here. There it is.
Up. All right, Twitch chat, you know what time it is. It's time to count down those flags, so feel free to spam.
One more.
Oh, no, one more! Ignore me. Ignore me. Yeah, oh, thank you, Andy. Andy actually just doing an improper dash angle there to be able to reset in order to set this up right. They're like, wait, what? Am I really that far ahead? I'm sorry.
If chat wants to spam numbers, there's nothing stopping them.
Yeah, go for it. I mean...
We could count to 100.
Yeah, just start counting meters, right? It's like, what is it, like 2,539 meters right now? And oh no, Andy with a bit of a death there. Just going to have to reset that room and go through. But luckily, that was right at the beginning section. And Nice is going to be able to get through there second try, but really... Oh no, not opting to not do the skip here, Obi.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's totally fine. It does take, definitely take some practice. I'm not going to say like, oh, it's frame perfect. But it is a very tight jump to get the second spike jump effectively. So totally understandable not going for that.
Yeah, we've seen this like really great decision making coming out of Andy, like just recognizing that maybe some of these more insane strats they're not entirely up to speed with the consistency to be able to perform those like in every single run. And like you said, Obi, this is a no reset situation. It's a do or die. You get one run in a tournament race setting.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Just barely missing that door switch there. Has to end up just going back and doing it again. No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. Whoops!
A little bit off on that dash angle there. Opting not to. But yeah, just it's about consistency. If you don't, there's no use going for a trick that would save you 2 seconds if it has more of a percentage chance of losing you 10, 15, 20 seconds or more just trying to go for it. So,
yeah, if you end up like trying that trick like 4 or 5 times, then boom, there's the 2 seconds that you've just burned, and like you don't end up like saving that time at all. So really cool to see. All right, now it's time to count numbers.
30.
All right, so Andy is going to be heading up using these dash crystals, of course, to refresh their dash, and then heading up to the next flag, which is 29. Looks like 28. Don't get too confused yet, Twitch chat.
Probably, I'm just guessing, probably not going to be skipping very many flags, so we will get the full counting experience. But we'll see. Who knows? Andy might pull out some strats and maybe skip some of these flags. Maybe,
yeah. I mean, Andy probably already knows that I'm not very good at counting already, and so maybe he wants to try and throw me off a little bit more now. But Andy so far is so good. Nicely done being able to get down through this downdraft section can be so brutal, right? If you just mess up or just like hang in the air for a little bit too long, then you just start accelerating downwards, and that is not the direction you want to go.
Yeah, just dealing with these gravity changes, it can be really difficult. We're in the downdraft section right now, at the very tail end of it. Next will be the updraft section, so you will be much lighter. And then after that, back to normal gravity, back to normalcy. So, yeah, a lot floatier in these sections here during the updraft section.
Yeah, there's flag 18 and 17 respectively, because that is decreasing in number as we head up. And just barely missing that dash crystal is going to have to head back and do that entire section again. That's unfortunate, but nicely done being able to get that second try. It's always great to see, like, if people ever fail a trick, like, it's not great to see them fail the trick, but just, like, watching them recover and be able to get through, right? I always know, like, I'm a nervous wreck in these situations. Just watching these runners be able to pull these things off is just so impressive to me.
Yeah. No, and I think, barely getting that last jump right there, running out of stamina.
Wow.
But I think since we do have that updraft helping us a little bit, the jumps are quite a bit tighter in some scenarios. Right there, very nice.
Oh, man.
Squeaking by through those spikes. It's very costly to take a death there because it's right at the very end before you hit the next checkpoint. So very cool to see first try through that section.
Yeah, and there we go. We're going to be heading into the single-digit flags next. Oh, man! Commentator's curse! I'm so sorry, Andy! Please forgive me! Oh, no.
All right, some tight dashes here. All right, ops to go. We have the full counter, number 8. Final few checkpoints here. Very close to the end of this run. Oh, gonna wait for that dash crystal to reset. Very nice. Just having the just knowing what to do in that situation. Just wait for that dash crystal to refresh and can continue on rather than taking it.
Yeah, nice neutral jump save there from AndyPerfect. AndyPerfect is going to be dashing up instead, but unfortunately just taking a little bit of a spike death there. Is going to be resetting their position as they go down, taking the upper route, nicely done, and getting up. They have one more dash. Yep, gets over and grabs the feather. Here we go. Keep going, Andy.
3. So close to the end of this race. Few more flags here. Last ones are particularly difficult. Lots of just open space. You have to know exactly which dash angles to do or you will not make it. And makes that tight dash right there. Grabs the crystal. Oh, final flag. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Finishing up this run, which looks like a sub 46 is happening.
Wow, that's really great. And Andy wasn't quite able to close out the PB, but finishing with that 45-43 came within like 13 seconds of their PB. So what a really great run from Andy. Just showcasing off, being able to grab those consistent times close to their PB. Very, very impressive stuff. What a great performance.
Yeah, fantastic showing from both the runners. And it is really cool to see like both perspectives. Like, did that say only 25? Did that say only 25 deaths from AndyPerfect?
I missed that. I'm sorry.
Did I see that? Because if so, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, 25 deaths. That's it.
That is very good. So yeah, just it's awesome to see kind of both sides. Like Fladervy coming in with these absolutely ridiculous tricks, carrying that momentum through the runes in ways you didn't know were possible, and AndyPerfect coming in and just like slow and steady wins the race. That you can see that decision making throughout the entire run.
Yeah, really great job from both of our runners. The race wasn't very, very close because because Fladervy is a much more experienced runner and has pushed their PB down much further. But also going 7-0 in group stage, going into bracket stage, I'm sure Fladervy is going to be very excited about that. But really nice run also from AndyPerfect, coming very close to a PB. Going to be going 2-4-0 right now for their win-loss tie average. But that being said, they still have one more match going in, so maybe they're going to be able to close out that 3-4 win-loss rate as they're going to be finishing out groups. But nice run overall from both of our runners, right, Obi?
Yeah, fantastic showing. I don't know. We may or may not be getting any of the runners for a post-race interview, but yeah, just great race from both of them.
Yeah, but if we can't bring our runners in, the action is not yet over tonight, folks. We have a 2 races simultaneously being streamed on Speed Gaming 5 by Diamond Crafter A and Tigerson, so definitely stay tuned for that. It's going to be another run from Kaizen versus 4i Steven, and then also Hawk Sam versus Kooky Apocalypse. Man, those names are just so epic. And that will be happening in about 6 minutes over on Speed Gaming 5. So definitely tune in for that.
Yeah, and we have tons more Celeste coming up tomorrow and the next day and the next. There's tons of races are happening. So if you like Celeste, you're probably watching. But yeah, tons more Celeste coming up. So
yeah. Looks like we're good to close out here. Obi, thank you so much for joining me on commentary tonight. These matches were really exciting, and I look forward to watching the rest of the tournament. Good night, everyone.
Muffin, it was a pleasure, and we will see you all on the next one.